Hello everyone, and welcome to the first video in our WoW Refugee series. I'm Pixie from One Pixel Princess, and I'm so excited to share this game with all of you. In today's video, we're going to take a look at 10 of the hidden gems in Final Fantasy XIV you don't want to miss as you make your way from Azeroth to Eorzea. They are your challenge log, the gold saucer, the deep dungeons in the game, of which there are 2, the sightseeing log, your Chocobo Companion, the company Squadron, Beast Tribe quests, the most adorable NPC in the entire game, the mechanism for in-game simming, and the achievement vendor. I tried to structure this list in the order they'll likely become relevant in your playthrough, but your mileage may vary. And if you stick around to the end, I've saved a bonus gem just for you, so don't miss out. I've put all the reference material for each item into the video description, but if you have questions about any of the content I show you in this video, let me know in the comments below and I'll be happy to help. The first item on our list is the challenge log, picked up at the end of the quest Rising to the Challenge, acquired from Itowan at the Drowning Wench in Limsa. You'll first need to have completed the Envoy quest for your starting zone and pick up It's Probably Pirates from Bataran behind the counter in order to make the quest spawn. Once you accept the quest, Itowan will complain about some very messy clients and ask you to find the owner of a journal left behind for her to clean up. Eventually, you'll be led to the ferry dock and Wastelade, who will wax poetic about his adventures for a moment and then offer you a journal of your own. The challenge log is a list of weeklies that you will be able to replete basically forever in a variety of categories, resetting every Tuesday at 1 AM with the rest of the game. While some of the quests in the log seem a bit odd, you get a variety of valuable loot out of doing them. It's the game's way of rewarding us for continuing to engage with it on a regular basis, and I think that's neat. Next up, we have the gold saucer. The quest to unlock this gem is called It Could Happen to You, and can be found in Ul'dah on the steppes of Nald, right next to the itinerant Moogle. Talk to the well-heeled youth and accept the quest. He's kind of an ass, but he gives you a golden airship ticket at the end, and you'll take that to the airship ticketer NPC. Just like that, you'll be packed off and sent on your way. There isn't a great analogy to the gold saucer in WoW. It's massive, and there is so much to do inside. I'll do a whole video dedicated to everything available there, but for now, the big thing to know is that the gold saucer is like a library of different minigames, all in one place, and there are some pretty great prizes you can win for playing. Third in our list of hidden gems are the deep dungeons inside the game. The first is called Palace of the Dead, and can be unlocked at level 17 by completing the quest The House That Death Built from Nojiro Marujiro in New Gridania, though you have to have completed Copperbell first as well. The second is called Heaven on High, and can be unlocked by the quest Knocking on Heaven's Door from Hamakaze in the Ruby Sea, but only if you are A. far enough into Stormblood content, and B. have made it past floor 50 of Palace of the Dead at least once. Now I know roguelikes aren't everyone's thing, but if you do enjoy them, you're in for a treat. I've only done Palace of the Dead so far myself, but it really feels like everything I wanted Torghast to be without most of the stuff that drove most of us nuts. It's content that can be soloed, though it's faster and safer in a group, has engaging enemies that seem to scale in a way that makes sense, and really beautiful and dynamic floor design in a way that makes me want to spend time in there. The prizes you can get are pretty cool too. To cover all the things you need to know about even just Palace of the Dead deserves a video to itself, but I will put a link in the description below to the comprehensive Palace of the Dead written guide put out by Meiji, the second person ever to solo all 200 floors. If this kind of content is something you're interested in, let me know in the comments below, and I'll definitely put out more content for you guys about my experience in Palace and the things I've learned that helped me get through it. Next, we have the Sightseeing Log. This can be obtained by picking up the quest A Sight to Behold from Now Gumdula in New Gridania. Yet again, we have a Mikote tavern worker fed up with people leaving their stuff lying around, and honestly, I would be too. You'll once again ask around about the owner of a neglected journal, and end up directed to Milith Ironheart at Apalku Falls in Old Gridania. Milith will thank you for returning her journal, and talk about all the pretty sights she's seen on her travels. And then, you guessed it, give you one of your own. While the Sightseeing Log doesn't offer much in the way of prizes, the riddles can be a fun thing to do sometimes, and often require you to get somewhere you probably shouldn't be, or do a silly pose at just the right time, or in the right weather. And for completionists, there is definitely a sense of satisfaction to checking each vista off your list. Now we get to talk about one of my absolute favorite little additions to the game, and that is the Chocobo Companion. There are several steps involved with this one, beginning with the quest My Little Chocobo, which you can pick up from your Grand Company at level 20. This will award the Company Chocobo mount and unlock mounts as a whole for your character. When you reach level 30, you can then unlock the follow-up quest, My Feisty Little Chocobo, from Dosette at Camp Tranquil in the South Shroud. Once completed, you will be able to summon your Chocobo from the companion menu by using Gissel Greens, which can be purchased from vendors or grown in a garden from seeds. Each Gissel Green will give you 30 minutes with your Chocobo, and they can eat up to 2 at a time to push that timer to an hour. Chocobo Companions then go about with you almost anywhere in the world that you can mount. Idleshire is the only one I've found where you can mount but not call your Chocobo, but I'm sure there are probably a few others. Think of them like all of your Legion class hall companions rolled into one. They will enter combat when you do, and provide assistance when you fight mobs out in the world, able to take on either a tank, DPS, or healing role. And you can change their feathers. This footage was shot before I'd gotten housing and access to the Chocobo stable to do it, so she's a sad default yellow here, but I'm glad to say GLaDOS is now a pretty turquoise color and seems much happier with the state of the world. With how the menus are labeled, I think they had originally planned on adding other companion options and ended up scrapping the idea in favor of other things. And while you can't take them with you into places like dungeons, raids, or Palace of the Dead, they're a pretty handy tool for getting through some of the quest content a little bit faster and safer. Number 6 on our list is the Company Squadron. When you reach level 47 and the rank of Second Lieutenant in your Grand Company, the boys upstairs think you've proven yourself enough to take on some pretty serious responsibility, a command of your very own. Since this feature is part of your Grand Company rank climb, your barracks might look a little different from mine, but all the mechanics work the same. You'll unlock your personal staff sergeant, and therefore access to your squad, by completing the quest Squadron and Commander from your Grand Company's personnel officer. If you're over level 47 and a second lieutenant, and you don't see a quest from this NPC, go and make sure you got your challenge log. It's a prerequisite for making this whole system go. The Squadron system works a little bit like the mission table quests WoW implemented in Draenor, and then kept coming back to. Despite the fact that I never kept up on any of those, however, not even when they introduced the minigame aspect in Shadowlands, I actually find the way this has been implemented to be surprisingly engaging. Firstly, you get a selection of enlistment papers every time you complete certain sections of your challenge log, thus why it's a prereq. You get to choose who you want to recruit and who you don't. Once you have them, you can send them out for training or on a mission, and each mission has a chance to bring back different kinds of rewards. With a max squad size of 8, you're really building 2 solid teams to take on different types of content. Oh, and once they hit level 50, you can transmog them into better outfits. I'm not kidding. As you grow and hone your squadron, you'll unlock the ability to send them on command missions. This is a feature introduced in Stormblood that allows you to run select dungeons with just your team of NPCs. I will say that the process of doing it takes some getting used to, and the whole time I was healing it, I kept thinking that this would be much easier as a tank. But once you get the hang of it, it's pretty smooth. From this point on, at least as far as we know, Endwalker might shake everything up. All additional ranks in your Grand Company are earned through this system. So if you're interested in the titles and items locked behind First Lieutenant and Captain, this is how you'll get them. 7th is the Beast Tribe quests. While Final Fantasy XIV doesn't focus on rep grinds to nearly the extent that we're used to in WoW, there is a specific part of the game where they exist, the Beast Tribes. Yup, the people who've been summoning all those pesky primals for you to go stab are now going to be your friends. Well, some of them anyway. Starting at level 41, you can begin quest chains for the various Beast Tribe factions available to unlock. Each expansion has their own, but for A Realm Reborn, there are 5. The information about them is on the screen, but I'll include it in the description below as well. Personally, I find the Beast Tribe reputation system to be fairly dynamic and engaging. You make progress via a series of daily quests, with a longer quest to move from one rep level to the next, and more options for those dailies unlock as your reputation with the faction grows. For rewards, each Beast Tribe has a vendor who will sell you more and more things the higher your rep. This is a good source of rare dyes, crafting materials, and most importantly, mounts. Up next, we have a gem brought to you by the cutest NPC in the entire game. Khloe Aliapo is a Keeper of the Moon Mikote kitten in Idleshire who loves to tell stories. When you first meet her, she'll tell you how she uses her stories to make her sad friends smile, but that lately her stories just aren't working anymore. Desperate to make her friend forget their troubles, Khloe asks you if you'll help her collect new stories, and gives you a key item that is, well, it's another journal, but this one comes with stickers. Khloe's Wondrous Tales, because she has a tail and she likes to tell tales, is kind of a mix between a set of weeklies and a minigame. Each journal has a random assortment of activities, completing each of which will earn you 1 sticker. But you have no control over where on the playing board the sticker ends up. You also have a set of points you can use, either to repeat a duty you've already done for another stamp, or to shuffle where all of the stamps are on the board. Collecting 9 stamps will get you the basic reward of XP, and a choice between 500 Allegan tomestones or a platinum piece worth 10,000 gil. But if you manage to make those stamps make rows, then there are extra prizes to get. Not only is this one of the best ways to get a large chunk of MGP each week, but if you're not saving your cactus dollars for something special, the vouchers can be exchanged for transmogs, some of which are among the prettiest in the game, especially for tanks. In the home stretch at number 9 is the in-game simming functionality, first seen at Stone, Sky, Sea in the Dravanian hinterlands. This feature is unlocked by completing the level 60 quest, A Striking Opportunity, from the Boisterous Bruiser in Idleshire after completing the main scenario quest Heavensward. From then on, you can access Stone Sky Sea by speaking to the Goodly Adventurer just outside the first entrance to Idleshire. From this menu, you can choose from a selection of difficult fights to emulate. Once you've chosen one, you'll be taken to a platform where a dummy will be spawned with a certain amount of health. How much health is determined by your roll, and the highest bar you'll be expected to meet in a given trial, raid, or dungeon. If you can get the dummy down to 0 health within the 3-minute timer, congratulations! You do enough DPS for your roll to be pulling your weight. You can calculate the actual damage per second you do by seeing how much time is left on the timer when you kill the dummy, and divide its total health by the number of seconds it took for it to die. This system was implemented in patch 3.2, seemingly in response to the toxic extremes of parse culture that are endemic to games like WoW, and had started to make an appearance in 14, which is an important note for anyone coming over. Squeenix does not like parses. There's a certain element of don't ask, don't tell culture, where if you're using them for your own personal data collection, it's not like there's a tracker on the server that's going to detect that and come for you. But the studio does seem to take it seriously when they receive complaints from players that they were excluded from content, or removed from content, for not parsing high enough. I have mixed feelings about this particular feature, to be honest. It's easy to miss and can absolutely add value to your gameplay, so I felt it was important to include in this list. But as much as I didn't enjoy the extremes that AOTC groups pushed their parse culture to, there is admittedly something satisfying about seeing your real-time performance, and the moments when you hit top of the chart. While the issue is complicated, and there is an external parse system you can use, I have to applaud Squeenix for taking a fresh approach to a problem nearly as old as MMOs themselves. Last on our list is the achievement vendor Jonathas. He can be found at Apalku Falls in Old Gridania, right across the little field from our old friend Millith Ironheart. Each time you earn an achievement in Final Fantasy XIV, you'll accrue points. These points can be turned into Jonathas for achievement certificates. Those certificates can then be used as currency to acquire a number of cosmetic items, from the vouchers used to buy a swimsuit from Rorina's vendors, to minions, to barding, even a few mounts. While this particular gem can be accessed very early on, it takes a fair bit to really start accumulating enough achievement points to be able to buy things, so I personally would save it until a little bit later in the game, unless you find an item you particularly want to grind for. As promised, your bonus gem for sticking around through the entire list is one of the odd but fun little quirks of Final Fantasy XIV, and that is that Rogue must be unlocked before it can be chosen. To unlock Rogue, you must first have completed a level 10 class quest. You'll know whether or not this requirement has been met by the presence of blue quest icons allowing you to pick up crafting jobs or other combat jobs. Once you have access to those, you'll be looking for the quest So You Want to Be a Rogue, acquired from Lawnward, just south of the Fisherman's Guild. When you first talk to him, he'll try and blow you off, insisting that the building he's guarding is just the dutiful sisters of the Edelweiss. Like, they're literally pretending to be a convent of nuns. You'll soon be recognized as an adventurer of some renown, however. He'll recant and admit to being part of a guild of rogues, then send you on to speak to their guildmaster if you're really interested. Rogues in Final Fantasy occupy a really interesting corner of lore. Originating in a time before there was really much in the way of law and order in Limsa, the rogues were the enforcers of the Pirates Code, and it's a function they still perform today. Rogue gameplay is a lot of fun, though definitely don't expect it to line up entirely with the World of Warcraft flavor. The stealth abilities inherent to the class make for interesting and unique strategies for various types of content that just don't work with any other class. What does carry over into this game, however, is that rogues, and the ninjas their class evolves into, get some of the coolest weapons and transmogs in the game. That concludes our list of hidden gems in Final Fantasy XIV. I hope it helps you find some new fun along your gameplay experience. Stay tuned for more tips, tricks, and suggestions with the rest of our WoW Refugee series. And if you have specific content you would like to see more on or ask about, let me know. I'll be happy to help. Thanks for watching. See you next time.